Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. So we're gonna do a little bit of analysis in our gameplay analysis series. I guess it's gonna be for CC games, Blitz games. We'll take either games that were casted from like streams for, in this particular case, the New Zealand Nationals, different nationals, different events, and we'll also take some of our own games from Talishar, integrating that into producing some more content, trying to get back up to 3 releases a week now that we have a better idea on what people are more interested in seeing. That being said, I'm joined by my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-compatriot Rob, who's had an enormous amount of Chinese food, so if he yawns a lot, you're gonna have to forgive him for that, but he doesn't really care because Chinese food is great.
Yep.
This is the New Zealand finals, the national championship that just happened. It is an Iyslander versus Oldhim. So very brief, this matchup is um, probably like one of the most common matchups that people are going to be seeing in the high level tables and top eight tables. Saw it a lot in Canada, for sure,
hmm
in the semis, and it is a matchup that takes a lot of knowledge, definitely on the Iyslander and the Oldhim. But it's easier inherently for the Oldhim because you're really just trying to smack Iyslander down ASAP, right? You need to hit Iyslander hard before Iyslander is able to set up Frost Hexes, Insidious Chill, Amulets, Energy Potions, set up Ice Eternals,
hmm
using Striders to kind of gain a little bit more of that tempo, go in for the kill, and being able to like navigate this particular game state. So that being said, we do have Matt Rogers on the bottom on the Oldhim, and we do have Kevin Kim, I believe his name
Yep.
is, on the Iyslander on top there. So let's start the footage here and see what
hmm
it looks like for the setups. So
All right.
obviously Matt in the full PCG garments here. He's running Null
Yep.
2,
Represent.
Tunic, Stalagmite, and Winter's Whale. So Kevin Kim just going with the regular setup: Coronet, Tunic, Ironhide, Striders. Kevin is going first. Kevin did have the seed advantage, so he is picking first. Definitely
hmm
what you want to do. Try to set up board state as soon as possible, and you do get like the initiative on your Tunic counter also. So,
Yeah.
bam,
Turn one Frost
set
Hex.
turn run. Like I don't know if you can get a better turn one
No.
into an Oldhim really. It is interesting that Matt Rogers is running the Stalagmite. I don't think I've seen
hmm
many Oldhims run the Stalagmite into
Yeah.
Icelander. I
Um.
think it's
Yeah, I was gonna mention that we have seen Icelanders go more of a dual approach, like Battle Mage style, where you do run the
mhm.
attack action cards.
Yeah.
So it
If
would
I
make
guess if you
sense.
if you don't have the list though, I'm not sure if they had the list. I know the U.S. Nats they did have the list for top eight. I'm not sure if they
hmm
did for New Zealand. But if possible, like running that would make sense if you do see a lot of attack actions.
Right.
Matt slamming back here with the Oaken Old unfused.
Yeah.
So what Matt's trying to do is just put on as much pressure as you can at the most efficient ratios. So in this particular case, since he is going whale, his attack actions are generally going to be better value because the whale is only really going to be coming in four, and Icelander doesn't really care about the frostbite here. So Matt with a 4 card hand, so he is representing Pummel here. It is possible that he pitches for the Pummel. Kevin just blocking out with Freezing Point and Aether Hail, taking the 1 damage. Matt doesn't look like he has the Pummel, so in this particular case, Kevin is still definitely in the lead
That Frost Hex.
with that hex. Yes, he is just going to be pitching. Well, I don't know why I put the ice bolt to the grave. I should have. I think he should be pitching that ice bolt to play the second frost hex though. So maybe they'll figure that one out later.
Yeah, it's a blue one. I
Um,
think it's a blue.
yeah, so there we go. I think it's yeah, down to the
Like
bottom there.
Judge.
Yeah, Judge. Second frost hex this early in the game. Kevin
Yeah.
just sitting super pretty. And Matt is just coming back with a spinal crush here for 9. So not
Yeah.
not terrible. I think honestly, the more turns that Matt just swings with a weapon and passes is increases Kevin's chance of winning by a lot.
Yeah.
Spinal Crush, the effect not really important, just a 5 for 9 in this particular case, trying to catch Kevin with a couple of cards. Kevin does have Tunic counter next turn, so he will decide whether he wants to like push that arsenal out on Matt's turn. Generally, what Kevin is going to be trying to arsenal is pieces of his combos, so Amulet, Insidious Chill,
hmm
Hex, like cards that he can get out of his arsenal easily because he doesn't want to be in the position where he needs to block with multiple cards and is either left with just a Hex that gets pummeled out or some kind of some kind of reason where he needs to get rid of his hand, and he has one of those pieces in hand, right? So he'll want to get those pieces in arsenal ASAP, and that's a big priority.
Yeah. So Spinal kind of being okay against things that do have go again, like the amulets, maybe Winter's Bite as well. So if the hand is a little
Yep,
big, and with a lot of go again, it could have some utility there. But I think
sure.
Kevin, Eric, taking the 5 damage there, blocking 4
Yeah, taking the 5, doing a little bit of magic with his fingers here.
potion.
Getting the E-Pot, as I kind of mentioned, prioritizing those pieces, those board state pieces in the arsenal to try to get them out as safely as possible. On Matt's turn, no, it looks like it's gonna be on his own turn. No, he ticked it after, so it must be in response to
It might
Matt
have been
drawing up
from
final.
Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, that was from Arsenal on Matt's turn. He decided not to swing the waning, and on his turn, just comes back with an Aether Vein, Aether Ice Vein,
Fusing
sorry,
with
Aether Vein, fusing with a Cold Snap.
Cold Snap.
Yeah, we don't know what color that is. So Matt is running the Null 2. He is not running Heart of Ice, which I've seen players run both. So Matt is just going to do that thing where you take one and use the 2 floating to essentially pay for the cost, the pitch 2, the cost for the Ice Vein here. And he's going to come back with his own. Looks like he is fusing down there. So it's going to be a fused Oaken with Dominate.
Yeah, I think Winter's
Nine
Grasp.
Dominate.
Oh, and
And
Sotomoro, I believe.
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And this
Very
is
nice.
this is why you definitely want to be like arsenaling on Kevin's side those board pieces. So then on your side, all you have to do is play it out of Arsenal or something like that and pass and like put something in Arsenal if it's a 0 cost like an amulet or if it's something like Insidious, you could potentially just go a turn without an Arsenal. It's probably fine. But in this case, Oaken is going to be threatening the cards
Yeah.
out of hand. It's going to be 2 cards to the bottom, which isn't awful. Like as far as Kevin's concerned, it does allow him to pitch stack. Let's say if he has something like an Ice Eternal in hand, it doesn't discard the cards, which is the most important thing, right? Like you are able to pitch stack Ice Eternal in a blue or something like that, and be kind of okay with like taking the 6, setting something up. But that's really not that
I
bad,
think the worst
right?
part really is the damage from this Dominate, right? Because damage is the name of the game for Oldhim right now.
Yeah, Dominate is the main way that Matt's gonna close out the game. So things like Dominated Glacial Footsteps, Macho Grande, Oaken Old, and then combining with things like Pummel on CNCs and items such as that to really be able to close out the game here. So Kevin just thinking about life decisions here, gonna play out the Fate Foreseen, probably the best 1-card block he's got.
Yeah.
Fate Foreseen is actually quite nice too because it actually helps us pitch stack even more, right? So if he's able to see like another blue ice card, then you could put that to the bottom and then put like an Ice Eternal and another blue, which is like trying to ideal cycle on your Ice Eternal. And it is pretty nice. Like Matt was able to do kind of what I alluded to when I talked about in the Oldhim deck tech, which is arsenaling Oaken Old is always a nice priority because you can block with a card or use a card and then pitch to double fuse it, right? It is usually the better idea to be able to arsenal Oaken Old instead of arsenaling just a random element card, right?
Yeah. And to state the obvious, you can't fuse from Arsenal. You can't fuse cards that are in the Arsenal. So it makes a lot of sense to put the card that you need to attack with from Arsenal and keep the cards in hand, like the Ice and the Earth cards, to make it easier to get off.
Yeah. So Kevin's going to keep a card in hand, put to the bottom, go to 25. So the life lead here is up to 11. Honestly, it doesn't get stupendously scary until you get to single digits where Dominate really starts to hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Kevin will just be Coronet peaking, but Matt does have the Tunic. That is one of the benefits of Tunic over Heart of Ice. You can pay for Winter's Bite, and you could pay for Coronet Peak.
Yeah.
Coronet Peak being like the ideal 1-card hand if you don't have a 0-cost setup like Frost Amulet and Energy Potion. So very, very good use of the Tunic there. Obviously, it's one of the reasons he brought it in. It also helps with a lot of Frostbite mitigation. So if you have your Tunic on 3, Matt is able to kind of ignore the almost automatic like assumption that a Frostbite might be coming on your turn from Icelander's ability, right? So it is a bit of a buffer there, but it really only comes to play when you're hitting those really big attacks like those 6 for 10s. Then you can like pitch to use the Tunic and then keep pitching for your 6 to 10 because pitching an extra card to get over the Frostbite just becomes real inefficient. And you'd have to hope that they're hitting you back that you can Arcane Barrier to use it effectively, right?
Yeah, we're not seeing many frostbites either come out from the Iyslander. I think mostly utility stuff from the arsenal, like the E-pot.
Yep, mostly. It hasn't been too many turns, and the first two turns have been hexes. Of course, the Oak and Old definitely. And when you
I
see
mean, you take that.
the Ice Vein, yeah, yeah, you definitely see the Ice Vein. Saw the Ice Vein coming out there to
Yeah,
grab a little bit of damage
bit of
on there because
damage.
you can't. Yeah, you're gonna have to kill Oldhim at like. It's much easier to do it 15 to 20 compared to like 30
Mm-hmm.
plus. So Matt is gonna be so tomorrowing from Arsenal, getting probably that Oak and Old back to the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Glacial.
pitching two more cards for the Glacial. It does look like he is fusing with the Ice card. I think he is revealing
Yeah, I do
whatever
see
card that is on the
a
bottom.
card down there. Yeah, so
Yeah,
doing
so
really well to
dominated
put
time.
out these really big dominated attacks. I think this is probably as best as they can get. I don't think
No,
we haven't
you're
seen
rolling
many,
hot here.
not many hammer swings either. So really getting what
Yep,
you need to put on pressure.
yep. Yeah, you're definitely rolling hot here if you're
Mm,
Matt. I mean, you
cold snap.
got your first cycle dominated Okins with a
Yeah.
dominated Glacial
Ooh.
Footsteps for 10.
So pitching Insidious chill. So
Mhm.
not going to be able to play that out. Maybe as a duplicate, but that's a
You
pretty
could
high
have another one
priority
in hand.
card. Yeah.
Yeah, he did have the Cold Snap to get out to be able to draw the extra card here. He's only able to block with one card anyways.
Hmm.
It might also be like his only blue card,
Yeah.
or just the one that he wants to block with the most. It looks like he has another. I think I saw
Okay, you got a glimpse.
something
Yeah.
along those lines. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
saw another kill in hand.
So the
You
frostbites.
don't need.
I was gonna say you can see how inefficient the frostbites are against Oldhim because you swing once big and then you're not gonna pay for anything anymore. The main reason is that it will deal 2 pips of 1 damage because of the frost X's.
Yeah, Matt does have the pitch to be able to prevent it
Hmm.
at the moment. However, I think in this matchup as Iyslander, you don't need all three uses. Generally, like you need at least three to four, ideally four ways of getting cards out of hand. So like two insidious triggers and
Yeah,
like an
an
amulet,
amulet.
amulet or two, and then maybe you're like Stridersing in Ice Vein or
Hmm.
something like that, right? Aether Ice Vein, and that is enough to do it. You don't need triple Ice Vein
Yeah.
as triple Insidious in hand, so it looks like he's just going to be nourishing that emptiness
Mm,
here.
very nice. Yeah, so we're seeing that this is
Dominate.
probably going to be the only attack action card in the deck if you are
Mhm.
running Nourishing Emptiness. So
Yeah.
I would say now or never for the Stalagmite, honestly. I don't
Oh,
really think.
you're definitely playing Stalagmite here. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it's possible that Matt saw the top 8 list and was like, all right, he has the nourishing. I'll
I
Stalagmite
guess.
because Rampart is useless,
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
Yeah. It's either that or the Sledge of Anvilheim, I guess, that you would choose to put instead.
It's like yeah,
Yeah.
that or Sledge, and Sledge is the more expensive option.
Yeah.
But again, attack actions are definitely a more effective way of getting the life total down because you can't do such. But
Yeah.
he will be blocking with that Stalagmite, I imagine. Crown of Seeding,
Yeah.
crown of Seeds for
We
the
see it
other
here.
prevention. Yep. So he'll be blocking the full 3, I imagine.
Yeah, it looks
Sorry,
like
a card for 3, and then another
1, 2, 3
for
here.
1.
So 6 total block.
Yep, 6 block on the Nourishing, so Kevin doesn't get the extra card. He does have the Insidious in hand, so he is going to be putting 1 Insidious in the arsenal to be able to get that out on his own turn. I believe he used Tunic for that too, right? So it must have been a red Weather Vein.
Oh,
Red
right.
Weather Vein and Tunic to pay for the Nourishing, I imagine,
Yeah,
because I think he had the Tunic up.
that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think he used it besides this. I
Yeah,
can't
because
recall.
he would have had 1 on his turn because Nourishing is on his turn, so he would have had the 1 on his turn. So it must have been used for that with the Weather Vein. So it is interesting that he does have those in his deck. It's definitely a more proactive on your own turn kind of thing.
We're seeing
It's
Insidious in
interesting.
the Oldhim list,
It's
actually.
on the Oldhim
Yeah,
list.
that's something we
So
haven't seen in a long time. Or at least I
yeah,
haven't.
yeah, it's very like it's very niche in Oldhim. I think it's a 2 block, which I really dislike.
Right.
You really need a lot to make it work. You need to set it up and you need to fuse. The number of fusions Oldhim can be decent with footsteps and such, but it's really not high enough for
Mm-hmm.
me to make me want to run Insidious Chill. There could be another reason in Matt's deck. I don't know. I don't know the full deck at the moment, but there could be another reason that he's running it. But
Could
just
be maybe for the mirror
thought.
if you want to take a card out of Oldham's hand to be able to attack with a big swing.
Yeah, I see kind of limited uses to that Insidious. Just the whole 2 block thing.
The whole 2 block thing. Yeah.
Have. Yeah, I just think just like Winter's Bite is just no Winter's Bite. I always get Winter's Bite. I always get
Right.
that in Grasping.
Yeah, yeah.
I just feel
Grass was
like
the
Winter's
attack.
Bite is just
Winter's Bite is the non-attack
yeah.
action. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like Winter's Bite is just better at just taking a card because they effectively like yeah, you put the Insidious and
Right.
it's conditional on fusing, but the
Yeah.
bite always comes through.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
more of a
And
fan of that, but
it is rare to get the fuses off than it is in Iyslander
mhm.
because Iyslander has so many ice veins. You run the
Use
full
target. Yeah.
9, right? It's a lot
Yep.
easier to get it off,
Yep. The 9. You're running Ice Eternal obviously as one of your wins,
right?
so like that fuses, but you're also able to effectively do it on either person's turn, which
Yeah.
also could get more damage off like a frostbite or something if you're also Iceland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
And
just realized that was a swing of the Winter's Whale. So we're seeing Matt slowing down.
mhm.
Although he did have to block out a Nourishing, so that's probably why.
Yeah, Matt's slowing down a little bit. He's just going to Arsenal card, swing the hammer. Kevin's just going to be ticking up the tunic
Yeah.
and trying to set up. So what was his Arsenal there?
In Kevin's Arsenal?
Yeah.
I think it was the. Oh, it wasn't Insidious then. Because that
Oh, it
was
must
the
have been
D-React. I
something else.
believe it was the D-React.
Oh, I guess it was a D-React.
Oh,
Okay.
there's.
Well,
Oh, so he did. Okay. He Arsenal
maybe he
the
held it?
D-React.
It's possible he
Or he
just
didn't
held it,
Arsenal?
but that
Yeah.
yeah. Or yeah, I'm not really sure, but either way, pitching hard to find out. Find out's like pretty interesting card in Icelander. You do
Mm-hmm.
usually get a cycle out of it.
Yeah.
But you're aiming for at least
Ooh.
2 here. So
CNC and
Rouse the
Thunderquake?
Ancients, yeah, one of the best on curve attacks that Oldhim has to put pressure in mid range control matchups.
Hmm.
Comes in for 7 go again. Very easy to 6 for 10s.
Yeah. He had 2 there.
Which I believe
Ended up
was,
pitching the
yeah,
other one.
yeah. So it was a Red Thunderquake and a CNC. So it's really not that complicated to actually put it through because that 10 like
Mm-hmm.
Winter's Grasp,
It
Autumn's
might have
Touch,
been
like
blue.
every
I think I saw it was blue.
Oh, it's a blue Thunderquake.
It,
Okay, so you're coming for a 14, still okay. You could still do that with a an Autumn's Touch blue, 8 and 5. That
mm,
would also get to your 13. So quite a few combos that Rousing can actually get through. He's probably gonna want to either see. I'm not sure what's his arsenal, but he could pretty easily pitch for a CNC here to force the arsenal. I think it
mm,
depends on what Kevin has in there. So if it's something like another D-React,
mm-hmm.
Kevin might use it now. Probably using it now is a better.
He did.
Has
He
the
did see the CNC. Yeah.
We did see the CNC for
See
sure.
CNC. Yeah, it could be a blue ice vein maybe. Probably worth getting it now just to give the frostbite because you know that one more attack is coming after this, whether it's the Anvilheim, sorry, the Winter's Bite or Winter's Whale, so many winter cards, or the CNC, right? So you probably do want to get the frostbite out now if it is a blue ice card.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think at this point in the game, 17 health ahead. This is exactly where Matt wants to be, right? He's got his tunic
Mm,
counter, he's got an arsenal, he's got another at least 6 damage coming through, if not
yeah.
more. Because he could also use the tunic to push something a little bit heavier. So if he has like a 4 cost in arsenal, he could use a tunic and a blue to play that 4
Mm,
cost, like a choke slam or something like
choke
that.
slam.
And
Yeah.
you'd be coming in for 8, and you can arsenal the CNC, right, for another
Mm,
turn. Maybe you draw the pummel. So that's also a possibility that Matt can do.
mm,
I think regardless, Kevin does have to respect this damage at this point in the game. You're at 18. This is over a 30 your health. You are not near. You're maybe halfway at your setup. Like you really do need
yeah.
1 to 2
You
more
you
amulets,
do need the
another
amulets
chill,
out. Yeah.
another e-pot, at least 4 more pieces on board state. I
Hmm.
would say to feel in a more comfortable position.
Yeah.
It is also getting to the point where Kevin could think about using Striders to claw back a little bit of that
Just to gain a
tempo
bit
to
of
try to
tempo.
prevent. Yeah, to try to prevent those like big swings and maybe put Matt on just a hammer swing.
Yeah.
And
A lot of the sync belows were used. I think at least 2, maybe even 3 were
mhm,
used already. So it's going to be
yeah,
hard to block out the frostbite henceforward. Um, Having to commit at least. Oh, okay, the respite. I didn't know that was in the deck. So really
oh,
good
that's fair.
actually. Really good card into the Winter's Whale as well.
True. It is one for an effective 5. You are gaining life,
Hmm.
preventing 4 from the Rouse, so he's going to be taking 3 here, assuming nothing else. But he could also just play a D-React, or just take the 3. Yeah, he's just going to take the 3. I think without the Arsenal here, Matt might still play the CNC because then you can't play D-Reacts into it, I guess. But I don't think there's a very good I don't think there's very good grounds to assume that Kevin has any D-Reacts other than like the instant Oasis that he played.
Right. Yeah, I think he played all 3 sync belows already.
Yeah, if he played all 3 sync belows, there's also possibilities like he could be running if you didn't have the top 8 lifts and he was running something like an immovable or something in that kind of line. It would be something to consider. It looks like Matt is going to
Oh, okay.
go
So
for the
from
spinal.
Arsenal was a spinal. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a similar play that I kind of suggested to
Yeah.
be able to get to a higher. So instead of 4 for 8, he's coming in for the 5 for 10. Oh, sorry, 5 for 9.
Yeah, so total
I
of
think
16 damage on this
yeah.
turn.
Yeah, if that was a choke slam, it'd be much nicer because then you get to keep your arsenal.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there's really not a lot of 4 cost attacks that Oldhim does run anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm not really like super surprised, but that's spinal. Coming in for 9 is quite good because then you're going to get 2 cards and chip 3 damage. And then Kevin's get Arsenal card. He's going to go to 13. And you've done 6 chip through the 1 Oasis, which is pretty good. Kevin does have the 1 floating, though. So he's going to use that Gauntlet.
Okay.
And blocking with an Encase. So it's pretty reasonable to block with an Encase. I did see he was running Weather Vane. So Weather Vane Encase is one of those big generations because you need 0 for 3 that fuse to be able to trigger Weather Vane effectively because it is a very pitch intensive play. So another pitch intensive play is swinging with Ice. And Ice Vane going to trigger that Insidious Chill to trigger discard or pay 2. And then Ice Vane is also going to be discard or pay 2. Matt does not want to block the full amount. I don't think he can because he doesn't have a crown. So even if that was a blue Ice Vein, he's still going to be leaking one unless he's running. Yeah, unless he's running Oasis. I'm not sure if Matt. I have mixed feelings about Oasis. I think it's okay. In general, it has its uses for sure. Matt's going to be discarding Thunderquake. It looks like a red Thunderquake.
Red Thunderquake, yeah.
And he's going to be probably preventing 1 and then using the other 2. It's going to be taking. So it was a yellow Ice Vein, it looks like.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it was a yellow Ice Vein because he took 3 there and prevented 1.
Yeah.
So Kevin does get 2 cards out of Matt's hand. Matt's just.
Yeah. I'm noticing that we aren't seeing a lot of the Waning Moon come out as well. Oldhim not really giving Iyslander much breathing room on their on their turn, right?
For sure. Matt's given Kevin like very few opportunities to card to pitch to Waning. And to that end, Kevin's been missing a lot of that damage. But like the thing is, you can't really trade life effectively when they're coming at you for Oaken for 9, Glacial for 10, Spinals for 9s. Like it's Arouse for 7 plus Spinal
plus
for 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt has been rolling like decently hot. Probably hazard to say running above average in this game. Just being able to get threat density with their pitch in first cycle, right? As effectively as that is. There are plenty of more brick, turns that something like a double ice, earth, and like a random blue, pretty common hand that you can have in Oldhim, and so there definitely is brick potential as far as not being as aggressive. Same issue with Guardian in general. Like a lot of reds, it hampers your ability to keep the aggression. But on the flip side, if you run too many, it hampers your ability to always have pitch to play what you have.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
always a bit of a Guardian issue with ratios.
Exactly. Yeah, and plus the attacks you do have just cost so much. Even the blue ones, right? So it's really hard to manage the attacks a little bit. The ratios of red to blue, you really do have to run in like quite a few more blue than reds.
Yep. And Matt up 20 life at this point. I'd say he's firmly in the lead. Kevin has not been able to advance any board state here between those hexes and the Insidious Chill.
It was also promising at the beginning, but now it's like he hasn't seen
1 turn 2 hex. Yeah, pretty good.
Hasn't seen a build up card in quite a while. Insidious being the last one, I believe, 2 turns ago.
Yep. So we're just gonna see the Ice Bolt coming in, the blue Ice Bolt coming in from Kevin. Matt's just gonna take it, not super threatening. And this is at the end of Matt's turn, I imagine, because he's giving him the fight. And now he's going to move.
There's the moon. Okay.
Yep.
A little more breathing room this turn.
Yeah, Matt did not come in with like some massive attack. In fact, he didn't come in with any attack, right? He
Yeah.
all he did is so this is actually an interesting thing to point out. Matt did is he passed with his 2 cards left in hand from Spain, and
Mm.
he just wanted Kevin to do something, and then if Kevin did something, then Matt still has his. He's still able to whale, and with 2 cards you can overpitch on the whale to break the frostbite, right? So if you have a frostbite
Mm.
and you pitch cards, you're able to still swing and break the prevention because the frostbite would have done 2 damage to Matt otherwise, right? So Kevin's just going to block with a freezing point here, taking the 1, get the
Hmm.
frostbite because Matt is able to uh, pitch the Witch's Grass to activate the whale. So
Right.
with that, we have Kevin going down to a crisp 11. That is
Yeah.
very dangerous because you have your dominated
You're
tens
almost at
coming in
single
for a whole
digits now.
heap. You're almost a single digits, as I said at the beginning of the game. That's kind of the see another
Mm.
token. Oh yes, the first cycle pulse. I
Yikes.
love to see it. Matt flexing, showing why he was it 2020? Yeah, 2020 New
New
Zealand
Zealand
champ.
champ. Yep.
Yeah, pitching the
Yeah.
imposing visage. So yeah, Matt is rolling through this game. Just first cycle, double reveals on the. It's insult to injury to just because I think Matt didn't have an arsenal, right? He just
Hmm.
drew up the Oaken Pulse and the blue. So that's gonna be a nice Christmas present. New Zealand does piss imposing visage. Imposing, one of those cards that gets auras, but I'm not sure that it has like that um, consistent playability into a lot of the other decks. Like I'm not. It's most of the time it's just a blue in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't even know if I've seen it be played in any of the Oldhim games I was watching at Canadian Nats. It's a rare card to see activated, especially against Iyslander. I feel.
Yeah. So in this particular instance, there's not a lot of analysis we can just have it. So
It's
Kevin's
okay.
options are to block it or die, right? So
Yeah,
he is gonna he's gonna throw his cards on the table there. Take a
yeah,
5 to the face. Doesn't seem to have any second oasis to kind of push through from hands to be able to block the rest
yeah. It would have been
of
a
that.
nice coronet peak block as well. Maybe
Yep.
Oasis plus coronet plus a 3 block card.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm sure he would have done that to try to get some a little pressure. In this particular case, he's left with 1 card in hand. There are a couple options depending on what he has in the arsenal. I think that he could play out he could either pitch the Coronet Peak. He could also
Mm,
play out whatever in the
so
arsenal.
not playing out the amulet, just wanting to put a bit more pressure. I think because he knows that one more dominated attack, maybe a glacial fuse would be enough to kill him here. So Kevin
Mhm.
opting instead to strip a card from Matt's hand to avoid that reality.
I think it's definitely the better play now because Matt doesn't have the tunic.
So we did see the
So
glacial.
it does. We do see the glacial there, but yeah, Matt not having the tunic
Yeah,
season like using that Coronet Peak.
the tunic
Now
would have
Kevin's at
been
5.
great to mitigate that. Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin's at 5. It's looking a little on the
Mm.
grim side here. We do
First
have
E
an E strike.
strike of the game.
Yep.
A really good card in Oldhim to prevent breaking. I think as you mentioned a few times, really good for fixing hands. If you draw a bunch of red, if you draw 2 E strikes and 2 other reds, you're golden. So that's 12 damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the
Oh,
first
yeah.
one of the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely coming in for go again, I imagine. Um,
Hmm.
and here, it's interesting that if Matt had Sledge, he could be threatening pitch another card, use Tunic and Sledge, which would be lethal.
Right.
In this particular case, Whale would never be. But
Hmm.
Matt can always just have a pummel, right? That's the other threat because if Matt has 3 cards left in hand,
Yeah.
just
Pitch
pitch
for Winter's
the
Whale.
Winter's
Pitch one
Bell
more
and pitch again
for
for
Pummel.
pummel.
Exactly.
Yeah, however, he did E-strike. I don't think he had an arsenal. If he only had the 4 cards, he could.
He currently has a card in Arsenal. I'm sorry. Part of it got cut
Okay.
out. So there is a card in Arsenal right now.
So if there's a card in Arsenal, then he could definitely be threatening the pummel on the Winter's Whale, which is quite nice. Kevin doesn't have a ton of. I think if you need to Striders, I don't think you really have a choice.
Mm.
You need to Striders out something. I don't know if he has any threats, but it's kind of now or never when you're at 5 here because you know you're going to,
Yeah.
you know, seeing another attack come through. Like at best, it's a Winter's Whale for Kevin, but at worst, it could be like a CNC 10 or something like that, right? So I don't know if he has much of a choice here, but It looks like he will
We're
be
seeing
six pitch, but it
this
looks
might
like
be an
Ice
Ice
Eternal.
Eternal coming out here, I think.
Hmm.
What else could cost 6, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got Ice Eternal here. Looks a little bit unsure about it. It might have been.
Yeah, it hurts to
He's
get it
gonna
out
try and
this early,
Prius.
but I think you
Hmm.
have to. Especially only for 6 pitch. You definitely wanted to do it with a 9 or a 12 pitch hand. But,
Hmm.
it is what it is. He does have to survive here, so giving 3 Frostbites. I believe he fused, so Insidious Chill will proc.
Yep, Insidious Chill will proc. The the sad part here is that Matt can get through the frostbites with a lot. Like he can get through frostbites with Tunic, he can get through frostbites with Crown. Of course, he crowned now, so he doesn't really have to.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really need to save the crown to break all those frostbites from the because he has Tunic. So what you could do is you could pitch extra to use the Tunic. So if you have three
Yeah.
frostbites, you could just pitch four to use the Tunic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
or sorry, pitch three.
Pitch
You'd
3,
be
right?
pitching three to use the Tunic. That is kind of the idea on keeping. Another reason why Tunic is a little bit more favorable than Heart of Ice in that particular position. It's usually Heart of Ice is when you're on the back foot. It's usually a bit better to try Iyslander going off, but Tunic
Yeah.
is just kind of better at providing another source of breaking frostbites and getting a little bit extra pitch.
Yeah, Tunic
So
definitely the more aggressive approach.
yeah, he is going to. So Matt is going to block.
He's going to write on his card.
A,
He's going to sign
he's
his
going to
card as he plays him.
casually just signing cards
Here's
and
your here's my auto.
grading them after. Looks like
So
he's
letting
just
that
going
resolve.
to. He's going to be taking a little bit of damage here. He's going to be blocking.
Oh, he
I think
hasn't
was a
he hasn't
26.
declared block yet, I assume. Oh, you mean
All
Matt?
right.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I think
he
it
just
it was
used the crown to block
just
one,
the
and then
crown.
he paid two. He paid two for the Insidious Chill off the pulse. So he
Yeah.
used pulse, used crown, and then used the two floating to Insidious Chill, and then used the crown blocked one of the three, so he damage down to 26.
Yep.
Frostbite's resolved.
That makes sense.
So Matt will just have to pitch a blue to activate Tunic to be able to break those frostbites before end step, and then he won't be taking any damage. And there's still five, which is lethal, coming
Yeah.
towards Kevin. Kevin will have to block with a card.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Storm Strider is definitely not the play anymore. So blocking for 3 here, or it seemed
yeah, he
like
does
it
have
was
the
3.
Tunic up. He does have the Tunic. He still has Coronet Peak, right? So he could block with a card and nothing.
Yeah.
Um, he
Yeah, I
could
believe
also,
2 cards left here in hand. So
Mhm.
you're right. You can still pitch for something, or pitch for Striders with Tunic, play something out. But I don't think that's realistic. I think you do definitely want to block up here. Block with 1 card and Cornet Peak. Keep 1 card to Arsenal. Maybe maintain a bit of pressure with your frostbites.
like he's grimacing a little bit at the situation where it all go. Well,
Yeah,
through no fault of your own, Matt just kind of had it as the game progressed here. So
yeah.
it's like that's Eternal going to the graveyard, and Kevin gonna be blocking with something. He'll block with the hail there. So yeah, probably the one he fused with.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I think Matt's just electing to take the 6 damage here.
taking 6, going out to 18.
Yeah. So pretty good.
Just tired.
Yep, not being able to use the CNC, or not the CNC, but any other attacks from hand after the strike. Even though he picked go again, it was a situation where Kevin just put out the Ice Eternal and just ended his turn, pretty much. Ended Matt's turn.
Yeah. Yep, that's fair. It is important to note that Kevin is at 3, so now Kevin does have 1 card. Probably, like he wants to peak, but Matt has 2, so not as ideal. Yeah, Dominated Glacial will be real good. Anything with Dominate, Macho Grande.
Yeah, oh yeah, anything like that. You're right. Yeah, he has a lot of options to close this game out because there is no lethal potential on the Iyslander side right now. You would have needed a lot more combo pieces to get the 18 damage required to end the game.
Yeah, because you do need to strip more cards. So it looks like pitching 9 for
We're
that
seeing the
Macho Grande.
Macho- The Macho Grande probably going to end the game.
Macho Grande 2 floating. So if there's a card in Arsenal here,
There is actually. There is 1 card in Arsenal.
You're threatening La
We
Pummel.
haven't seen
La
Pummel yet, so I'm going to wager that's a Pummel.
It is possible. You have exactly 2. It is important to note that he is just pitching the 9, right? So He could have easily just used Tunic
Tunic.
and
Yeah,
pitched two
you
blues
know
to play down Macho Grande.
the way I look at it is whether you have pummel or not, it's always a pummel. It's you're
Pummel
always threatening
living,
it
yeah, living rent free
in
in your
people's
head
heads.
since the dawn of time.
Yeah. But as Kevin, you cannot play around it. You cannot fully block here and give Oldhim one more turn of a full 5 card hand.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Kevin needs to block with the Cornet Peak here. He needs to block with a card from hand, which is
Yeah.
5, and he needs to give him the
He has to give
Tunic, I
Tunic as
think.
well. Yeah. I wonder if it's worth using the Tunic now to Strider something out and then blocking with Tunic after. Get that pip
Yeah,
off.
you keep the one floating regardless if you're blocking with the Tunic. I just don't know if he's going to do anything with it here.
Mm.
Yeah, because even
Um,
if Kevin does something, generates a Frostbite, Matt does have the Tunic up to still be able to pummel if he wanted to.
right.
Because in the
Yeah.
Frostbite, he could respond with
Yeah.
Tunic, get 3, and use 3 to pay for pummel. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, an important point that you don't have to pop the Tunic whenever you want to use the resource. You can just use Tunic
mhm.
early, get the resource, and bank it for the rest of your turn later on. So,
Yeah.
yeah, don't be afraid to just use the Tunic to get the resource early.
Yeah, you can get the resource early, and then you can also use it to like break the Frostbite here. So this 8 Dominate definitely putting some pressure. I do see a Channel Lake Frigid, Kevin's hand. Probably not going to come out at instant
Too
speed, I
late, too
imagine.
little, too
So,
late, probably.
well, yeah. I think it would have been good on some of the other turns, especially E-Strike. Channel
Oh
Lake,
yeah,
like making it cost 1 quite good.
yeah, really good for those Thunderquakes that cost 6, make you pitch an extra card. Can't even Tunic because that would cost an extra resource as well. So really good at blocking those really high costed cards. Not really effective against Spinal because you can pitch 2 blues for that still. Yeah, so thinking really hard here about this block. Now, there are probably a lot of options with the Striders here. So maybe just thinking, Kevin's probably just thinking of a way to get the Striders off and survive. Definitely
Yeah.
realistic, but you do want to keep a card to Arsenal as well. So there's a lot of things that you want to line up here on Kevin's side, on the Iyslander side. And it's often pretty hard to find that perfect play when you're dealing with instant speed, as well as the card from Arsenal that could be a blue ice card as well. So yeah, we'll see how he blocks. But my guess is card from hand plus Cornet Peak plus Tunic to survive. Could
There's not a lot
also,
of like if you're out of sinks, you really have to like go.
yeah, he might be thinking about the Oasis also. Very
You could
easy
have
Oasis with the Tunic charge.
could have a Fate for Scene because we only saw one Fate for Scene. I think.
Right. Yeah. We've mostly seen sinks so far. I guess he might be running all 3 sinks, all 3 fates, which makes sense. I believe that's how the builds in Canadian Nats were. They ran the full 6. I do see another Insidious in hand, I believe, or maybe that's an Aether Hail. Not too sure.
Looks like an Aether Hail.
I think
Actually,
it's a Hail. Yeah, it's a Hail. Channel
looks
Lake.
like
Oh, and a red Ice Vein. So it looks like 4 pitch to me.
an
Interesting.
Eternal coming out.
So it's a 4 pitch Ice Eternal.
Yeah, it looks like he has a Fate for Scene in hand also. So
Hmm.
does have that. Matt is just going to be taking the 2.
Yeah.
And the City Shield will pop there, so it looks like that 2 floating is gonna
Yeah. I don't know if
go
Matt's thinking of
out the way
reacting or
there.
responding to this.
He doesn't really need to. I mean, he has all the agency here, right?
Hmm.
Because Matt is still 8 Dominate. So
Yeah.
what's gonna happen is I think that Kevin's gonna try to poke a little bit and then block with Fate for Scene Coronet Peak and go to 1.
Yeah.
Is my guess. And Arsenal the last card,
That makes sense.
which seems fine.
Yeah. Kevin's building up to having one last hurrah with the Storm Striders, I believe, on the following turn. Very possible to just gain tempo off of one really good Storm Striders turn, and then being able to chip the Oldhim down for game, because Oldhim can only block maximum 3 arcane damage currently. So the red
Yeah.
ice veins will be able to chip down, but it's getting to that point where you put enough pressure with Storm Striders that it actually, works, because one big swing, you have to respond to an attack anyway when you Storm Striders, right? So it's like you let the Oldhim swing with something, and you Storm Striders not for lethal but for tempo. So you still got Storm Striders and then block out whatever Oldhim attacks with. So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, that's true. It looks like Insidious Chill. Looks like two was taken. I'm not really sure.
He
What did Matt pay for the Insidious Chill?
um he did not discard. I think that E strike was always there.
Was there a
Question
missed
mark.
trigger or something? Was it Kevin missed the trigger and then he
Huh.
didn't have to like they went to damage, he took the damage and then Matt didn't have to do
Oh.
anything? Is that what
Um.
happened? I'm not really sure there.
Yeah. I mean, Matt did not pay unless that dice is not supposed to be there, and I don't think he
Yeah,
discarded
that
it.
that would be yeah, that would be the other thing. So it looks like
Yeah, that might have been a mistrigger.
yeah, Matt is
Unfortunate.
going to use the tunic trick that I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier,
Hmm.
paying for the two. So there was only two frostbites, so
Paying
paying two
one
for the tunic,
tunic. Right.
paying two for the tunic, and
Yeah.
then getting one back
Yeah.
to prevent four damage. So turning two into four
Into
block,
four
pretty good.
block. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so this is where Kevin really has to pump the gas pedal. He has to turn on those striders and get something really big out here because one is not a life total that you can stay at for very long.
It's not all dominates are lethal here. Pummels will be lethal.
Yeah, Winter's Whale being just really annoying to block now. Okay, so
So
CNC.
Matt just coming in with C and C here after Kevin draws up.
So Matt did keep the arsenal, which we did allude to as maybe being a pummel here. So CNC being one of those really good cards to pummel. We'll see how Kevin wants to block. If Kevin suspects a pummel, not much you can do really.
He does have an Ice Eternal in hand and an Epot
He
and
does
an Ice
have
Vein. Okay, he's
Epot.
missing the Ice card here. Where's the Ice card?
Yeah, I don't think I saw one. Yeah, so not able to fuse that. No more Insidious Chill triggers either, or I guess
True.
charges. So
Yeah.
very hard to get a massive amount of damage this turn. Yeah, you could also take it easy and block. However, I guess if it's a pummel, you just accept your fate.
Yeah, if it's Pummel, like you could block with three cards and Tunic, I guess.
Yeah, but the danger with that is Matt just keeps pummel. So
Yeah.
you really have to do that when you think you're gonna get a really blowout turn the turn after.
Yeah.
We're
So he
seeing
is. There's the Pummel
yeah
coming out of Arsenal.
yeah. So
Looks
we're
like we have
seeing
Oasis coming through.
oh
Yeah, we
so
do.
he okay yeah. So if you do have the Oasis, you can take the chance. This is
Yeah.
obviously not a turn that you could go off anyway if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So luckily enough, the Oasis did save his life and was able to respond to CNC and to the pummel.
And gain him a life at that.
It's true.
So he is only going to be using the three cards
Hanging on by a thread. Pretty impressive.
by a hope and a prayer here, just clawing back the damage. But the
Yeah.
key there was that Kevin had the Tunic counter for the Oasis. Otherwise, he would have given up his last card.
Yeah, now he can't use the tunic for
Wasn't
Striders
Epot,
though,
right?
and kept
Yeah,
the Epot. Yeah, so now
but he does have the Epot for Striders now.
that is true. That is true. Yeah, having used, I believe he now went through two of his Ice Eternals, so one left in the deck. We do see a nice Zealous Belting with Go Again.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
pitching Thunderquake
yeah,
to give it the go again and an expose. So he's going to be pitching Red Thunderquake.
yeah.
Gonna be five go again with two floating. Could have another
Pummel
pummel.
number two.
This is pummelable, as they say.
Is that
Yeah, pummelable is definitely a term.
That's a term. It's a word in the dictionary for sure. This is just as bad as E-Strike, honestly. You can't easily block this with a 3 block, so you do have to commit 2 cards or 1 card in Tunic. Using the Tunic here might not be the end of the world because chances of surviving 2 more turns are pretty slim.
Hmm.
So it might be 1 card pummel. 1 card Tunic, go down to 1. Um, but then it's really hard to say whether you can block the next card or not if you give up. I guess you'll have 3 cards left in hand, so you probably will.
Yeah.
Then you won't have Tunic anymore. You do have the E-Pot to be able to Storm Striders out anything, so at least there's that. So it might be worth just blocking up. Unless he has the
Yeah.
Dream combo right now.
Yeah, a little bit tough without any hand disruption tools on Kevin's side. So
Yeah. So I can see Freezing Point being okay. I believe it'd come for 7 here. It's not too bad. If you can give a Frostbite and then Freezing Point, even better.
yeah, that would be quite
Play a
good.
blue from Arsenal, maybe a blue Arctic Incarceration, give 2 Frostbites, and then come in with Strider's Freezing Point. We do see the third Frost Hex and Aether Hail blocking for 6. We do Zealous Belting number 2. So
Yeah,
no
pretty good.
combo.
I mean, keeps up the pressure because you're going to grab another 2 cards right there, right?
Yeah. Or
You do
1
allow.
plus Tunic if he wants to give up Tunic.
Mm,
We did see the
oh,
freezing
Oasis. There
point
we
from
go.
hand. Uh, yeah, Oasis Respite doing a lot of work in this matchup.
Yeah,
But did
one
give
card
up
for
the freezing
five, pretty
point.
much.
So I would have
Gave up
thought
the
that was
freezing
one of
point.
the outs. Maybe.
Hmm.
Unless you get the third Ice Eternal with like a full blue hand, which would be nice.
Yeah, he did see 2 Ice Eternals. Well,
Yeah.
he did play 2 Ice Eternals pretty much turn after turn, so
Oh,
he
and
would have to set up a bit
he,
more of a board.
I
I think he
believe
pitched one pretty
he
early.
pitched one earlier. Yeah, yeah.
Looking at his life decisions,
Yep. Light flashing
questioning
before his
wise,
eyes.
yeah, questioning why he's here playing Flesh and Blood.
I do think that Kevin was doing pretty well to claw back. The life lead I think was worse than it is right now, but being at 2 is just really hard to get over. You have no breathing room to set up anything, and you don't have lethal with the frost hexes. There's really no way to get a lethal combo off this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to see a blue Aether Hail coming out of Arsenal on Matt's turn, giving him the Frostbite. So that's only coming in for 2. Imagine Matt's pretty comfortable blocking that. There's really no reason why he needs to be taking excess damage here, but
Yeah.
I think to close out the game, depending on what he has in his hand, might be more ideal.
Yeah, I think he realizes that Kevin's in, or I guess is out, will be to chip him down enough to get off a lethal combo. So, Matt probably will think about blocking this fully, pitching 2.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, again, no reason to really block this out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you're sitting comfortable at 16 health.
yep. Yeah, and it is like pretty easily blockable. You probably have like more.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to see a waning moon for 2.
Wailing moon.
Wailing on the moon for 2. Going to be probably preventing that with his last pip, I imagine, and just taking one going down to 15, and then coming smacking back
Yeah.
with like a 2 blues for 10, 2 blues for 9 with 1 floating, something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Generally, the play pattern you want to be doing to close out the game. He does have an arsenal. Matt does have an arsenal right now, right?
He does not actually.
He does not
Yeah,
have an
sorry, there
arsenal.
was an
So
issue
he's
with
gonna be-
cropping.
That's okay. So
Yeah, so we'll see. Matt decided not to pay for the moon, right?
he did not prevent any of the waning moon damage.
Okay.
Only the 2 from the hail.
So that must have been a blue hail.
Yeah, it was a blue hail.
It was a blue
because,
hail for
he
2.
prevented-
Okay.
He prevented 2 arcane of the 2.
Oh, correct. Yeah, okay. So that makes sense then. Yeah, so this is all up to Matt now. I don't think Matt's swung with anything yet.
No, Matt hasn't swung with anything. We're just in limbo.
Yeah.
Maybe grabbing a coffee.
East
Oh, an
strike.
strike. Okay. Matt
Yeah,
decided to do
casual
something.
coffee. Why not?
Looks like he's probably coming in for 5 go.
Yes, I believe you're right. So 5 go again. Hard to say. There's no arsenal on Matt's side. I don't know how many cards in hand right now. He did pitch 1, so likely 2 cards left.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that A-strike was from Arsenal, but I don't think it was. So,
So he has 1 card left in hand. Yeah.
right, he striked bottom of the card. Yeah, so one or 2 cards in hand, assuming that A-strike was from hand, not from Arsenal. 1 card left. Likely a pitch for Winter's Wail.
Where did that frostbite from the Aether Hail go? That's what I'd like to.
It was the dice in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, but like, so is he supposed to pay for the East? Maybe it was a crown of seed. It was probably a crown.
Okay, that's likely. Yeah.
Oh, so I did have 1 more sink below. So he only used 2 of the sinks.
Okay, it was only 2 sinks. Yeah, so maybe it was a fate that I saw earlier, or I'm just going crazy. Yeah.
Probably both, but
Yeah.
we are going to see the full block on those. Going to 1.
Yeah, going to 1.
Full block on the Winter's Wail.
So I
going to
think
1,
he
and
took
then-
the 1 from the E-strike.
Yep. Yeah, took the 1 from the E-strike, blocked the Winter's Wail.
So
Arsenal and drop.
Matt did play quite a few threats already. I believe all 3 Okins, 2 fused, 1 not. at least 2 E-strikes. This is his third spinal.
Third spinal, but it's coming at a pretty good time because you're going to get
Yeah.
3 cards out of one's hand, right?
Yeah, there are still, importantly, some Glacial Footsteps in deck plus Macho Grandes. So there's always a win condition in the deck.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of win conditions for the Dominates, especially. And Terra Sunder is also something that he can do.
We didn't see one pitched yet, actually. I wonder if he
We
even runs
didn't.
it. Yeah.
I don't know if he's right because you're seeing imposing
Yeah, the imposings are
picking
there.
spots. Kevin casually flicking through the graveyard there. I don't know what he's looking for when he's going that fast. Maybe pummels.
Just
We've only seen the one
just
so
bending his
far.
cards while he's at it. Like, take this.
Yep. So we do see the block for 9. We do see another pummel, and we do see the
Pummel.
fist bump.
Pummel, yeah.
Definitely
Pummel,
always a
notorious
threat.
for ending games.
Yeah, definitely always a threat. Good game ender, especially at that point. Kevin was really low on D-react. So I think as far as like analyzing that game, Kevin came out really strong with not able to
Frost
combat
Axes
the
early.
sheer to the 2 Frost Axes early, was not able to combat the sheer damage Matt was just
oak and
putting out
old.
turn after turn. I mean, Matt had very like getting 2 first cycle fused Okins
Yeah.
without seemingly any, one of them being Pulse, without seemingly any setup with your spinals. Matt was definitely drawing above average. However, he kind of knew what sequence he needed to do that'd be the most efficient to keep up the pressure, whereas Kevin's kind of at the mercy of whatever he has in hand to arsenal, and hoping that on those big swings he's able to at the very least disrupt a little bit with just chilling.
Yeah, he was holding on pretty well. I think he just needed to get out the Frost Amulets early. Those ended up being pitched for Cornet Peak and just some more disruption to stay alive. So it's very difficult when you want to set up a combo and also want to stay alive, because you can't usually do both. Unless you're just popping down like an E-Pot and blocking with the rest of your hand. So it becomes difficult when you're in a situation where your life total, where the game really hinges on you not taking any more damage, right?
Yeah.
So
no, for sure.
It was a tough spot to be in. I think he rolled as hot as like, a dash drawing 2 items early game would, right? Like you see that, you're like,
Yeah, you've done that before.
Dash is fine. I've drawn like 4 items in the first 6 turns at one point. Anyway, that's kind of how I see it for the Iyslander side. You get 2 pieces of your 6-piece Exodia combo kind of thing, and you're rolling pretty good. But it's similar to, I guess, in Dash, if you're drawing your two of your unmovables together, and you can't pitch for either of them, and then they end up getting like CNC'd or something, right? So it ends up kind of just falling apart, where Kevin wasn't able to play out a lot of his pieces. The Insidious Chili had to pitch early. I think he drew 2 at the same time in one hand. So clunky hands. Unfortunate.
Yep. With that, hope everyone enjoyed the content. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you did. And so this was just a bit of a little fun recast to,
Yeah.
It
was my first time watching it too. I haven't seen this game yet, so it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I watched part of it, but I don't remember if I watched it all. I got tuned in there. So, and with that, from wherever you're watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.